It's very valuable for you to be with us in our events. So first of all, I would like to start by icebreaker because not to break the ice among you, but to break the ice within me so that I'm less anxious. I would like to start with by a personal story. To a certain degree, I can understand the people with memory issues because I was suffering from a condition that was giving me memory issues. And I went to a physician and they gave me pills, and what I needed to do was to get those pills 3 times a day. They wanted me to memorize it 3 times a day, and I was like, I met most of you, and still what I'm doing is checking your name tags because I can't remember your names again for the third or the fourth time. I went to a pharmacist, and what she told me was that you talk to the physician, so you know about the whole process. And I was like, yeah, I know about the whole process, but I failed the whole treatment. But the important thing is that we don't let patients fail their treatments so that of our own faults that we cannot collaborate together and make it a teamwork. The healthcare services a teamwork. So my speech is going to be about this. The teamwork approach is actually especially important in the neurodegenerative diseases care. Just because that it's much more complex, it requires a much more complex. Excuse my sickness. It requires a much more complex healthcare service. What it's basically is healthcare professionals getting together, including a neurologist, a nurse, a therapist, a psychotherapist, a physiotherapist, or a social worker, a psychiatrist, dietitian together so that the whole healthcare process is working collaboratively and working in a dynamic. So I would like to present you with the whole research that has been done in that area. When we first started the med school, there was this joke that again, excuse my sickness. There was this joke that they were doing, what is better than one medical student, two medical students. And now I know that it's not the case. Now I know that there should be medical students, nurses, physiologists, psychotherapists. Did I mention dietitians and psychiatrists working together? And it's actually a fact that it is needed that they're working together. And I want to present you with the research that has been done in that area. So, I'm so sorry, I got cold. With a geriatrician and nurse, there has been research that has been done, and it was showing that. Sorry, can I get some water? I'm really sorry, by the way. So after the research was completed, their work together was recommended by all geriatricians and nurses who worked in that research, and dementias, falls, and incontinences like diseases that geriatricians were working on mostly were decreased by 20%. And another research was done with a social worker and a physician working together. And after the comprehensive research, it was again recommended by the physicians and the social workers that they got better results working together than the results they got working alone. And with the family health, with the another research that has been done in that primary care practice in Canada, including a family health team composed of a physician, nurse, a social worker, and a pharmacist with a geriatrician available for consultation. The whole participants who were involved in that research told that they successfully had their capacity built, addressing a rising number of patients who were cured. So the Institute of Medicine recommended interprofessional teams to address patients' complex needs. Team care should be structured in a way that maximizes the skills and abilities of every member and include clear goals with measurable outcomes. So it's really important that they're working together, but at the same time, they know what they're doing, what their job descriptions are. And when they know what their job descriptions are, they will know that they're working for different things for the same purpose. So that they will know that they're working for each and every goal that they're working for. Their aiming is inseparable from the goals that the other one have for the same purpose. So I would like to remind what are the roles of a physician, of a pharmacist, of a nurse, of a social worker, and how it's like inseparable for us, how one cannot be eliminated for the other one. So what is the role of a physician is to diagnose the disorder and initiate the care plan, basically, and review the imagings, laboratory tests, evaluate patients with unexpected change in conditions, and be there available for emergencies. Where the nurses' job is to evaluate the care of plan, provide ongoing assessments of the treatment process and associated symptoms, coordinate the care with other disciplines, and follow up the imaging and testing results, follow up with the care and healthcare services, where the role of pharmacologist is to identify drug-related problems and explore other ways that can improve the healthcare treatment process. And of course, the social worker is like an inseparable part of the healthcare services. They offer services that provide psychotherapy, counseling services, support programs for patients or caregivers. They are the ones that talk with the families so that if someone forgets to take their pills, which physician prescribed, and pharmacists consulted with, they can remind the caregiver, the family, to be the person to follow up with it. So what I'm concluding here is that they all have roles of their own that they're serving for the same purpose, and they cannot be separable from each other. And if you just take one of them out, then it will not give you the results that you're hoping for at the end. If you have any questions, you can ask me during the panel. Hope I could tell you how important it is to work together, and hope we can work together for other same purposes together in the future.
very much, Leia, for your presentation. And now we will have once again a 1 minute short break, a logistical, so please don't move around, so that we can set up the panel. And I would like to invite all the speakers for the panel. And once again, I would like to remind you that you can either raise up your hand, or you can scan the QR code and ask your questions through Slido.
Happy?
So, I believe that we can slowly start the panel discussion. So I would like to go with my first question to you. How can interprofessional education improve communication and collaboration among healthcare professionals such as physicians, nurses, pharmacists, and social workers in caring for patients with neurodegenerative disease?
Okay, so thank you. I will start to approach that question from what educators think that IP can bring about. The importance aspect is that with interprofessional education, you are experiencing as a student how to communicate with the other healthcare professionals who have who see as their priority different patient needs. And therefore you are experiencing how you contact, communicate with the nurse and the physicians, and that is what the communication is helping to be established. So yes, I do believe that by having interprofessional education, you're getting the pharmacy student talk with other healthcare professionals and grasp what the different priorities and focus of that healthcare professional is, and therefore make a connection in the way that you are communicating.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I can add a little bit more to that as a student. To be honest, I am an example of an education system that does not really include the interprofessional healthcare education. And the reason I'm in EPSA is, one of the reasons that I'm in EPSA is to be able to grasp what is interprofessional healthcare education is, and to grasp how I can be involved with it, how I can really work together with other people who are working for the same goal. And this is actually why I'm here in the External Affairs, why I'm here in EPSA's Congress. I really believe that it's very important for those people to work together in the future. So my brother is a pharmacist like you, and when I'm even working right now for medical purposes, he is the only person I go for consultation, and you will be the people that I will go for consultation in my future. So I must know when and where to come to you for which purposes from now.
Thank you very much. I think what you mentioned is very important, that even like sometimes we don't cover some things during our principal studies. Student associations also provide this opportunity to exchange with other students.
So our educations, they prepare us for when we are going to start our careers. And these careers, they last for a very long time. And the skills that we learn during our education, covered in curriculum or in activities outside of the university, such as associations like this, they prepare you. They can support your skills and attitudes and understandings that you will need. And therefore, having a focus on interprofessionalism in the education is important so that you are prepared to work with a good focus on it moving on, but also being open to learn even more when you are starting your own career. So this is very important to include.
Thank you very much. So I have a question. Do we have any questions from the public?
Hello, thank you for your interventions. They were all very interesting to hear. Since we are here in an EPSA Congress, I think it would be also nice to hear what EPSA would have to say within this matter. We can have more discussion and maybe share some good practices among each other. Thank you.
Daria?
Okay, if I'm not misunderstanding, they said EPSA, so it addresses you more than it addresses me.
Could you maybe please repeat the question? Because I've heard.
Since we are in an EPSA Congress, I think it would be also very beneficial to hear someone from EPSA to speak about this matter.
Okay, maybe I can take the lead on this. Interprofessional education is actually one of the top priorities that EPSA has right now. We agree with all of the panelists in regards to its importance and the steps that we need to take during our educational path, but also during our careers. And we are also working towards several initiatives in this regard to start developing ourselves in an interprofessional manner already during our education. If you were in the General Assembly, probably have heard of this before, but together with ENSA, EMSA, and the rest of the associations present in the European Healthcare Students Association Summit, we are working on several online projects, but also on a big project to come in summer of 2024, which will be the ESSA Summer University, and where you will all be able to participate if you would like. So definitely agree with the panelists and definitely see this as a priority for EPSA.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Okay. Yeah.
I also would like to thank EPSA for all the projects that they come up with because to be working in ESSAs is a great opportunity to experience how EPSA look at things and how EPSA look at interprofessional healthcare education. And each day, Katarina comes up with another project proposal that really thrills us. And with each project that we come up with, they're always so accepting and they're always so encouraging towards us. So really, I want to thank for your efforts.
Yes, and what I would like to add from the European Association of Faculties of Pharmacy perspective, I've been able to collaborate with EPSA for quite some time now, so it has been, I can say that the collaboration has been going on for a number of years, and we always look at EPSA as the partner who is, when we did have interprofessional education as one of our of the main theme of the program of our annual meeting and the year work, and that is where EPSA also was on the floor. So I do see that actually EPSA is a partner in always doing these projects, and that is why from the AFP perspective we support the activities that EPSA do all the year. And in fact, to each individual pharmacy student, I always advocate that getting involved in EPSA as a participant, maybe also in other opportunities, twinning projects, whatever, they have a lot to offer, is broadening your competency skill and also making the work of EPSA very relevant, because EPSA's voice, even on what they think about IPE in this case, is going to be stronger the more people are involved. So I that's my comment.
Thank you very much. I think what you mentioned is very important. We have several initiatives with EAFE. Actually, at the end of this panel discussion, we'll also present survey of patient education. And this project has also been prepared in collaboration with EAFE, as well as Gabriel before mentioned, SSM University, with our colleagues. And if you would like to learn more, we have also a position paper on interprofessional collaboration. Feel free to also check our website, because you can also learn more about this there. I have also one question to Professor Azzopardi. You mentioned in your presentation innovation in education. Could you maybe elaborate more on this? How do you see this happening in the future?
Yes, so we all know that the classical education program is the receiving model, where students are in the class receiving information, and then with some aspects of practicing that experience in a lab, in a practical lab, or in the practical settings in community or hospital pharmacy settings. So with innovation, we see there are many aspects that are coming up and that you see both in Europe and in other regions, such as, for example, the flipped classroom, where which we also in our university are engaging students in, where all the material that is normally done through the class is presented before, so notes and material is presented before, and then when you come to the class, it's more work. It's more that the students are going to discuss, ask, work on a patient case. If I come from pharmacy practice, so clinical pharmacy, so that is what we mostly do. A patient with dementia or Parkinson's disease, and trying to work on that patient after having had the background information, what we normally see in a classical lecture. So that's just one example of innovation, which is coming in quite slowly in different curricula. But of course, then there's gamification, that could be included, the digital aspect, how we're preparing students for the digital world. I know with neurodegenerative diseases that is a bit more challenging, as the speakers in the earlier panel mentioned. But there are, and when we talk about the word innovation, maybe initially a human beings think it's going to be a major change. However, innovation happens because we start doing things slowly, differently. And therefore, one of the innovations I see is having more experientials, having students not only going in community and hospital practice, but having students experience different rotations and experiencing interprofessional education with scientists in industry, in regulatory aspects. So the innovation is doing the things in a different way, which I believe makes it more relevant to current practice, but also more enjoyable for the students, which is, after all, nice to have a good journey as a pharmacy student.
Thank you very much for your answer, and we have one more question to Professor Azzopardi from Slido.
Yes, I have here a question asking how has technology improved interprofessional collaboration?
Yes, that's we've seen how technology improved collaborative practice, very much so, unfortunately, through the COVID experience. And that is where we've seen the different healthcare professionals grasping technology to discuss and to connect between them and with the patient. Now, when it comes to interprofessional education, that's a very good question, because as we can see, in a way, we can not underestimate the importance of the contact. If we want to build interprofessional education to provide the graduate with the competencies of practicing in the team, as much as I believe that digitalization and technology is helpful, we cannot underestimate the importance of having the face-to-face interprofessional education, because if this is going to be your groundwork of connecting with and how to connect, then we need to experience both what technology provides us through communicating through apps, for example, and sharing a patient profile, and you're communicating digitally, but it's also, we cannot not appreciate the importance of getting them together. So we need to have a good balance, and that is probably the tricky part of doing it.
Thank you very much. I saw there is one more question from the audience.
Hello, pharmacist from Germany here. So first of all, thanks for your talks. I've been wondering, maybe as like a takeaway message also for our careers later, what do you believe are the biggest misconceptions that we encounter both in professionalism, within education, as well as later on in the career?
Yes, I think the take-home message is that for the future of the career, we are there for the patient as a scientist, but we cannot do this all alone. And therefore, even when we're practicing, reaching out to collaborate, sometimes it may be the pharmacist who's gonna reach out to the practitioner, to the prescriber, with some challenges maybe as well. So overcoming those challenges to practice collaboratively is very important. I also give you the example of, for example, pharmacist prescribing. Probably in many of your countries, we have some degrees of pharmacist prescribing. Other countries are still working to it. Actually, I do believe that, and one of the challenges to get pharmacist prescribing is because of what other healthcare professionals think. If you look at our research data, patients want it. Patients believe in the pharmacist to be able to prescribe some medicines, but then it's what other healthcare professionals think. And many times that is the challenge in a national or regional aspect, why pharmacist prescribing may be taking long to happen or not happening at all. Actually, I also think that, and this is the take-home message even there, that even there, should we push for pharmacist prescribing, or should we be pushing for a collaborative practice, where if the pharmacist, because what's important? If I prescribe, it's important that the family physician knows that I have included a new drug, and that is interprofessional. So I think the take-home message is, as a pharmacist, we're doing everything for our patients, but we should not be doing this on our own.
Thank you very much. So I think with this take-home messages, we will finish the panel. So once again, I would like to thank you very much for your speeches and your contributions during the panel discussion. And now we will proceed to the Student Symposium. So big applause for our speakers. So, as I mentioned before, now we are proceeding to Student Symposium. So, we will be able to learn more about the outcomes of the research and what they have been doing for the last months or even years. So now I would like to invite our first student, Martina Krejcova, who will present us the topic of cognitive screening programs, economic impacts on the treatment and care of people with dementia. So Martina, the floor is yours.
So good morning everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you my work, which I think fits really good to the topic of this Congress. And it is, as Kasia said, about the cognitive screening programs and the economic impacts of them. So So firstly, I would like to mention a few aspects why the work was done. The first one is dementia. We heard a lot about dementia during the last symposiums, and what I want to add is that it is not only the healthcare problem, but also there are restrictions on social work and daily activities of the patient. And in the 2019, there were 9.8 million patients in Europe, but there is a view that in 2050 there will be like 18.8 million patients. So it is like really big growth, and only 70% of the patients are diagnosed. So the rest 30% doesn't know their diagnosis and can't be treated. There are many types of the dementia, but I won't talk about that. Another fact I want to mention is are the costs of the illness, which can be divided into direct costs, which include health insurance costs for medicines, materials, examination and stuff. Another part are the social security system costs, like pension, social services, and direct family costs for medicines and, for example, transportation costs to the hospitals and so on. Another part, which is bigger for the neurodegenerative diseases, and for example Alzheimer, are indirect costs. It includes loss of productivity for patients and also for caregivers. It means that the caregivers can go to work and bring to the society any productivity. And we can divide it into absenteeism. It means that people are not able to go to work, and also the presenteeism. It means that they are able to go to work, but not work for 100%. The third part are the screening programs. Here you can see the definition of the screening programs. It is the approach to identify individuals who are at the risk of the cognitive impairment at the start, so early. It can evaluate different aspects like memory, attention, language, or problem solving, and others. During my review, I find out there are many of the tests. I find out 15 of them, and you definitely know this one test with the clock, where patients draw the clock, and it's part of the Minicock test. Now, as I am from the Czech Republic, I would like to mention the cognitive screening programs in pharmacies. Firstly, it can be done by general practitioner who does the Minicock test for 50. It takes 15 minutes, and it is paid by health insurance. On the other hand, part of the pharmacies can provide also the cognitive screening testing, and it is for 1 hour, but it is paid by patient. It is approximately 14.2 euros for one screening. It could be paid also by insurance company, but there is a problem that the insurance company doesn't have the data if it is worth it to pay it. So the screening in the pharmacies consists of 3 parts. The first is questionnaire on patients' mood and self-sufficiency. Another part is the ALBA test with the memory and gesture test. And the last part is the POVAV test. It's about the naming and recalling the images. You can see it here, so you can try to memorize the pictures and then repeat. Sometimes not now, because we don't have enough time. So the aim of my work were to determine the economic benefits of the implementation of the cognitive function screening for the entire population of the 65 years of the age and older in the Czech Republic, and during the period 2020 and 2050. On the other hand, to determine the cost of this intervention and compare these two figures. So for the benefits, I use the pharmacoeconomic model of Marsha. It's not too important, But the intervention to the model was from one study which says that administering pharmacotherapy after diagnosis dementia for a period of 10 years slows the progression of the disease by 20%. I will explain it with the picture, where you can see that without screening, the patient will get the diagnosis and the treatment will start in any moment. But with screening, the diagnosis and the treatment will start earlier, so the patient can stay for a longer time in the mild stage, which is much more cheaper than the severe one. It is the price of the mild stage is, for example, half of the cost of the severe stage. Here is one graph from my results. It is about the number of patients in a severe stage before and after the intervention. The dark line is, says the number after intervention. Here you can see that in the 2050 there will be the reduction of the number of patients in a severe stage by 14,000. Here's another graph which says or shows the cost of the dementia before and after intervention, and the dark line is again the stage after intervention. And if we sum up all the differences in in each year, we can get to the sum of the costs of 3.9 billion euros. So it would be the benefit. On the other hand, by number of provided screening and the price of the screening, was 14.2 euros per one screening session, and the number of provided screening were covered by the population of Czech Republic who were older than 65 years old for 2020, and then population at the age of 65 for 2021 to 2050. And minus diagnosed population, and it made the number of provided screening 6,360,000. So if we compare the benefits with the cost, you can see that the benefits clearly exceed the costs. But there are several limitations of the study, like that the study doesn't show to repeat the screening for the people who were diagnosed during the first screening. But if we would settle all of the limitations, the intervention would be cost effective in the condition of the healthcare system in the Czech Republic. And as we live in the times where, for example, in Czech Republic, there's a problem with proposals of RX online delivery and so on, we should maybe think about something, how to expand our professional competencies in pharmacies. So this could be one of the options. That's all for me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Martina, for your presentation. And now we will move to the second presentation of Kristina Radivojevich, and the topic will be the pharmacotherapeutic potential of tacrine flavonoid chemical combination in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease, studied through QSAR and the molecular doping technology. So the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, my name is Radivojevich Kristina. I'm a fourth-year pharmacy student from Craiova, Romania. Before we start, I would like to mention that it's my honor to be today with you and to have the opportunity to present our study. It's the pharmacotherapeutic potential of tacrine flavonoid chemical combination in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease, studied through QSAR and molecular doping technology. The purpose of the study was to achieve an improvement in Alzheimer's disease How we do that? Well, we started with flavonoids, which are natural substances that can be found in ginkgo biloba. We isolated them and combined them with tacrin. Tacrin is already used in Alzheimer's disease. Together, we formed an combination, and we tested and determined the binding capacity of that system with acetylcholinesterase. All of that was achieved by QSAR and molecular docking technology. Now, as we already said at the symposium, we don't know the exact cause for Alzheimer's disease. What we know is the symptoms that can be manifesting, such as the creation for the reactive oxygen species and the moderate reduction of acetylcholine. This is our start point. This is where we want to attack the disease. We started with tacrin, which inhibits competitively acetylcholinesterase. And has been already used in Alzheimer's disease, and we combined this with the flavonoids. Even the flavonoids have a very important role. They can reduce the creation of the reactive oxygen species, and with that they have an anti-inflammatory and antioxidant role. Our hypothesis that we started this study from was that they are together more effective than tacrin alone. This is our analyzed substances. As we can see, we started from tacrin and we analyzed the binding capacity, energy binding capacity of tacrin with acetylcholinesterase. We also have the chemical combination of tacrin and flavonoids, such as tacrin myristatin, tacrin quercetin. We can see that the main differences between these chemical combinations are basically the groups that can be found on the main nucleus. We changed the functional groups between the hydrogen, hydroxyl, and methoxy. And as we can see, the binding energy has the negative value. Why is that? Well, the lower is the energy, the more stable is the bond that is created between the acetylcholinesterase and this chemical combination. As we see, our chemical combination has 2 times lower the energy, thus the stability of this system that is created will be more active, and thus the concentration of acetylcholine will be higher than the tacrin alone. We also applied the Lipinski's rules of 5. The Lipinski rules of 5 are showing us the molecular properties of our combinations. Our parameters included molecular weight, lipophilicity to see how our compounds will be soluble in oil or water, topological polar surface area, a number of hydrogen bond donors and acceptors, and the number of rotatable bonds. Don't be scared by the log p value. It's very important for our study that our chemical combination have a higher value because we want them to get through the blood-brain barrier. So the more lipophilic they are, the easier they will get into the brain, and the easier they will get to the acetylcholinesterase, which is our target. We also determined the electronegativity of homo-LUMO molecular states. These are the molecular states that actually interact with the enzyme, and we determined that the atom species that are corresponding for the biological responses are oxygen with more than 94% in LEO or LUMO, while nitrogen had the contribution in both, which shows us that the most important atoms for this biological response are actually hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Also, the values of the correlation coefficient suggest the possibility of an electron transfer between the active side of the enzyme acetylcholinesterase and these bioactive atoms, which shows that the bond that is created can be ionical bond, not covalent bond, which is very important to have the reversible effect for these combinations. As a conclusion, the acetylcholinesterase inhibitors remain and still are one of the principal therapy for the Alzheimer's disease, but their combination with flavonoids can be beneficial due to the fact that the flavonoids alone can reduce the side effects that are commonly found in acetylcholinesterase inhibitors. Also, our system showed twice more affinity for acetylcholinesterase. The antioxidant capacity of the flavonoids has its own benefits, such as preventing the reactive species of oxygen to reactive proteins and induce neuronal damage. So it is recommended to use the flavonoids along with the classical therapeutic methods in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. I would like to finish our presentation for today with the Rita Levi-Montalcini's phrase, "It is better to give life to our days than to give days to our life." Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And now we'll proceed to the last presentation in the Students' Symposium, delivered by Dieter Scheglatora, and the topic is Promising Treatment for Alzheimer's. Exercises.
Hi, I'm microglia and neurites. Second one of them is neurofibrillary tangles, and you can see the images of them here. Also, we know reduction in synaptic density and loss of neurons also cause Alzheimer's disease. Here I want to share an illustration with you, the comparison of the normal brain versus advanced Alzheimer's one. As you can see, there is a huge destruction in the Alzheimer's brain, so we want to support our brain, our cognitive system. We use acetylcholine for this, but there is one big problem for that. Acetylcholine has sedative side effects, and that decreases the life quality so much. So recently we choose unpharmacological treatment approaches like exercising. With aging, our body changes, our blood flow changes a lot, and there is much more lower volume of blood going to our frontal and parietal areas of our brain, which are related to cognition. And exercising really increases that blood flow that goes there, so that triggers the new neuron formation and neuroplasticity. Okay, which type of exercise should be done? Honestly, we don't know the answer yet, but it is known that moderate to high intensity activities like swimming, cycling, jogging they have better outcomes when it comes to reducing the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Lastly, I want to add something that I find really interesting. We have a hormone called BDNF, and it is responsible for the differentiation and growth of our neurons. And BDNF hormone is really at low levels in Alzheimer's patients, and doing exercises increase the level of BDNF in the human body. So that's why I think exercising has a promising effect, is a promising treatment approach for not curing the Alzheimer's disease, but for reducing its symptoms. Thanks for your attention. I want to share my references with you, and thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to say that you are definitely inspiring us to keep working on our projects and also trying to improve the science. So thank you very much for all your contributions. And now I would like to proceed to the last point of today. So, as you probably know, because we've mentioned it several times, EPSA has been working on survey about patient education for the last 5 months, and we finally finished it. And therefore, I would like to invite 2 people who were mainly involved in this project so that they can introduce you to this survey. So I would like to invite Monja Zekel, our Educational Affairs Coordinator, and Charlotte Tribot, our Policy Coordinator.
So hi everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Monja Zekel. I'm the current EPSA Educational Affairs Coordinator. So as a follow-up of what we said the whole morning, one of our targets this year is patient education. So for as a kind of definition of it, it's how we can empower the patient and their caregivers to be more involved on their treatment and all the process regarding every kind of disease prevention that may appear during their life. So this survey, I will first let Charlotte explain the goals of it, and we will discuss about the timeline and the network that was involved during this whole preparation. And after, we will let you a few minutes, because it's a very short survey, to fill it together.
Okay, I hope you can hear me well. So the goals of this survey is really to involve you as a student, because we want, as EPSA, create concrete positions in order to represent all the European pharmaceutical students. And for this, we need you, because we want to advocate for the pharmaceutical curricula in order to make it better for the pharmaceutical students, and this to make you more prepared for your future profession.
So we started working on that survey since December. We did a lot of research on what kind of topic we would like to be more involved, because EPSA did a lot of work on advocacy and education in general. We released a few years ago the methodology booklet, which is a document gathering data on how students would like to implement their curricula. So after that, we created a network to work with us, because we thought that collaboration would be very beneficial. The past month, we created the survey together with Charlotte, and the help of our network. We gathered feedback from the team, from you LSs, and so today we are very happy and proud to launch it. It will be open until end of May. After that, we will analyze the data and release it to advocates. So regarding the network, a few associations and organizations worked with us. I'm very proud and happy about them joining us. For example, Professor Vivian, who did the presentation earlier, personally collaborated with us. EHP, Vaccines Europe, PPTA, EAFP, PGU, and ASGP. So it's a very beneficial network and collaboration that we did. And so without further explanations, I would like to ask you to all take your phone and scan the QR code. The survey takes around 5 minutes to fulfill, and if all of you do it right now, I will have a lot of answers in a few minutes, and it will be amazing. So thanks. We will let you 6, 7, 8 minutes for you to fulfill. Thank you.
And if you please have questions afterwards, you can come and talk to us directly. We are available. Thank you.
Hello. So thank you all of you. One last thing, if you can copy paste the link and share it with your friends. If all of you share it with one friend, we double the answers. So with 2, with 3, so please do it. It would be super nice. On that note, I will leave Kasha and the session. And thanks again.
Thank you everyone, also from my side, for filling up the forum. It is very important for us to gather data and further advocate on important matters connected to patient education. And now I would like to, when it comes to the logistics of the educational program, I would like to remind you that workshop number 4.1 was cancelled. And I shared the document with you so that you can participate in other sessions. So please don't forget, if you sign up for this workshop, to check the document and put your name there, so that we are all on the same page when it comes to the educational program. And now, see a little bit the symposium. Today you will be free earlier. So I would like to thank everyone. I would like to thank our speakers for joining and sharing knowledge, and also the participants for all your contributions. So I would like to thank you very much, and I would like to wish you a very good educational program in the upcoming days, interesting workshops, trainings. Yes, and basically I wish you amazing annual Congress.